بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. Let's continue in the Metan of Al-Aajurroomiyyah. I don't have to remind you about the prestige of this text. If you finished Al-Aajurroomiyyah, you probably won't be a scholar just by finishing the Metan only, but very, very nice, Jan. It's like a badge or a belt. We are talking about the signs of i'rab, knowing the signs of i'rab. I'rab is the changing of the endings of the words, the altering of the endings of the words because of the various influencing words. Because of the various influencing words. Any word that influences another word. That's the amil, an agent or governing word, an influencing word. Like I mentioned for you before. As you learn the words, you're going to learn what powers these words have. Which actually reminds me, I want to show you something. Yes. Bismillah. So, what kinds of words do you have? You have ismun and fi'lun and harf, noun, verb, and particle. Okay. We said there's 4 cases of i'rab: rafa', nasb, jar, and jazm. Okay, so the i'rab is the altering of the endings of the words because of some other influencing words. This means that one word, it could be influenced by another word and influencing another word. Any word might be influenced by some other word and itself influencing another word. And so some word is going to be in the state of rafa' or nasb or jar or jazm. And another word is going to be in the state of nasb or rafa' or jazm or jar. Okay. And all these have signs. These rafa' has signs, nasb has signs, jar has signs, jazm has signs. But I want to show you something here. Ism, that's a kind of word. So what powers does the ism have to influence another word? What power to influence another word would an Arabic noun have? So I'll show you now. The ism sometimes has the power of rafa'. For example, if you say Muhammadun Rasulullah. So Muhammadun, that's a noun, ism. It's mubtada, subject of nominal sentence. It has the power to put this word into a state of rafa'. It's the influencing word here. Rasulu, why you say Rasulu and not Rasuli or Rasula? Because in this case, there's a noun that has the power to influence the other noun, put it into a state of rafa'. Stay with me here. Inshallah, if it's not all together, it's going to come all together for you. Because I'm trying to explain to you the definition of this statement. I'rab is the changing of the endings of the words. Al-i'rab huwa taghyiru awakhir al-kalim. It's the changing of the endings of the words لاختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها, due to the varying influencing words that come upon it. Upon any word. Due to the varying influencing words that come upon any other word. So some word is going to interact with another word, and this interaction, one of them is the catalyst. Is that the right word? The one that sets off the interaction. It's the influencing one. When these two interact, then the result in this, when they interact in this way, then the result is something. So here's a noun. This is a kind of word. Sometimes has the power to put a word into the state of Rafa. Or, for example, here's another noun. This one, Rasulu. That's a noun, and it is influencing this word. But this time, this word gets what? Kasra. Rasulullahi, Muhammadun Rasulullahi. So in this case, this noun is influencing the word after it in such a way that this word is in a state of jar. So what I'm telling you now is a noun might put a word into a state of rafa, or a noun might put a word into a state of jar. Depends on how it's interacting with the word. That's the powers that a noun has. It has other powers too. A noun could even make a word mansub, but I won't show you now. Or I'll give you another example. Fi'l. You say, ضرب زيد عمرا. ضرب زيد عمرا. It means, I think, which is clear for you now. Zayd struck Amr. Okay, so what's doing the influencing here? This verb, ضرب, past tense verb, it has two powers here. One is to make this one in the state of rafa, first one, because it needs a doer. So it's seeking out a noun to influence it as its doer. Now he caught Zayd. So Zayd is in his clutches, and he's going to use Zayd as his doer. So Zayd's going to take a Dammah, in this case, because of the type of word he is. Really, Zayd is in a state of Rafa. That's what you need to understand here. Zayd is in a state of Rafa. He's the doer of the verb. The sign that he's in the state of Rafa, the sign of Rafa is the Dammah. But remember, the old Arabs didn't even used to write all of this. Nahu is verbal science. And this verb has the power to put this word into the state of nasb, because it's also seeking out a receiver. It wants to influence a word as its receiver. So here, this verb got two nouns under its influence, each one in a different way. So then, now you know that a verb has the power to put a word into the state of rafa, or has the power to put a word into the state of nasb. You just saw above, a noun has the power to put another word into the state of rafa, and a noun could have the power to put another word into the state of jar as mudaf ilayhi. So what's i'rab? Al-i'rab huwa taghyiru awakhir al-kalim. I'rab is the altering of the endings of the words. باختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها, due to the varying agents that influence it. And so I'll just now give you example for the harf, since we went through all of this. So you say, for example, as you know, marartu bi Zayd. And I'll give you another example. Allah Ta'ala said, lam yalid wa lam yulad. So, marartu, I passed, bi, by, marartu. So this particle is influencing this noun. Bi Zaydin, marartu bi Zaydin. I passed by Zayd. That's why I say bismi, bi, same bat, bismi, bi Zaydin, the state of jar. And lam yalid, lam is influencing this verb here. Lam yalid. And I'll give you one more example. You say uridu an akul. Uridu an akul. I want to eat. So this an that I'm translating as to, Uridu an akula. This N is influencing this word. Uridu an akula. I want to eat. So now you see that a harf has the power sometimes to put a word into a state of jar, or into a state of jazm, or into a state of nasb. So now you got actually a big picture, because what I just told you right now is a great summary for you. If you can understand the abstractness of what I just showed you now, then you got a big picture of something, actually, inshallah. So, i'rab is the changing of the endings, the altering of the endings of the words due to the other influencing words, yani, words that are influencing it. And there's 4 cases of i'rab: rafa, and nasb, and jar, and jazm. Okay, and these 4 cases of i'rab, they have signs so that you can know the difference. So, back to the text here. This is where we are. Babu ma'rifati alamati al-i'rab, the chapter of knowing the signs of i'rab. And he started with rafa, because rafa is the highest i'rab. That's the i'rab for the subject of the sentence. He told us, لِلرَّفْعِ أَرْبَعُ عَلَامَاتٍ. Rafa has 4 signs. الضمة والواو والألف والنون. Dammah, wow, alif, and noon. Why does it have 4 signs? Why does not just suffice with 1 sign? Because there are different kinds of Arabic words, words that have different forms, different structures, and so they need other signs to accommodate their structures. So Rafa has 4 signs for all the words, all the nouns in Arabic that their signs can appear. Yani, all the words that are subject to i'rab, their endings change. The Dammah, and the Waw, and the Alif, and the Noon. And then he told us, when do these apply? فأما الضمة فتكون علامة للرفع في 4 مواضع. As for the Dammah, it would be a sign of Rafa in 4 places. في الاسم المفرد, in the singular noun. So you learned about that. That's a word form in Arabic, a singular noun. وجمع تكسير, and the broken plural. Now you know what the broken plural is. You took its definition and you saw some examples. وجمع المؤنث السالم, and the sound feminine plural. What was made plural by an additional alif and ta, like muslimah singular, muslimat plural. والفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء, and the MuDari verb without a suffix. We took the time to explain the last one on its own. وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ. The MuDari verb without a suffix. We had to show all of what that contains. But there's something there that I didn't show you. So now I need to show it to you. Okay. So we're still actually here. The author said, I'll rewrite his text here. وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ. وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ. Okay. And the fi'l mudari' without a suffix. So you know this is clear for you. الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ. I'm simply translating it as without a suffix. If I translate it word for word, it means that which nothing attached to its end. The fi'l mudari' which nothing attached to its end. Okay. And then we looked at the fi'l mudari'. Let's review it right here now. Start this way here. 3 gears, I'm going to say. First gear is mutakallim, speaker. Mutakallim, speaker. Second gear is mukhatab, spoken to. Third gear is ghaib, spoken about. Speaker, spoken to, spoken about. That's what they call in English person. First person, second person, third person. I'm going to call it gears. So your first gear, you're going to say ana, I, af'al, I do. Nahnu, we, naf'al, we do. Also, out of these three, we want to arrive at 12 uh, models. 12 models. We just got two. We should find 10 more models. Af'alu, naf'alu. So here, af'alu, there's going to be a Dammah here. The verb is in the state of Rafa. Fi'l MuDari in the state of Rafa. In the state of Rafa, the sign of Rafa is a Dammah because there's no suffix. And naf'alu, there's no suffix on the verb, so the sign is Dammah. Mukhatab, you say, yani, when you're speaking to someone, that's you. So you say you, anta, taf'alu. Antuma, you too, taf'alani. Antum, you, three or more, masculine, taf'alun. Anti, you, female, singular, taf'alin. Antunna, you, three or more females, taf'alna. Okay, so as long as there's no suffix, the sign of rafa should be a Dammah. Anta, taf'alu. Everything else here has a suffix because the verb ends at the lam. Lam is the last letter. Here's your lam. That's clear for you. So, what did suffix? In all these four instances right here, what was it that suffixed? What it was, the suffix was a damir, pronoun. Let us locate the pronouns. So, we'll start with taf'alin. Here, this ya is a pronoun. This ya is a pronoun, damir. It means anti, you, female. That's damirun muttasil, a connected pronoun. And here, this alif, taf'alan, that's a pronoun. It means antuma, you two. That's masculine or feminine. And this wow here is a pronoun. Antum, here. With the ta, in conjunction with this ta here. The ta is the proof here, what this wow means. Antum is the wow registered as hum for me automatically in my translation index, my mental index there. Here's antum. Antum taf'alun. So the wow is a damir. And here, this noon attached. That's a damir also. And this noon means antunna. You, female. Plural. 3 females or more. So in all these cases, something suffixed. So the sign of Rafa is not going to be a Dammah. The sign of Rafa is going to be, if what attached were a ya or an alif or a wow, yani any of these three here. If what attached were a ya or an alif or a wow, then the sign of Rafa is going to be a noon instead of a Dammah. It's going to be a noon instead of a Dammah. And the author is going to come back and say that. And we already said that last time. So what about right here, though? That's why I'm repeating now for you, because last time we didn't talk about this one. Taf'alna. Now, before I talk about it, though, let's look at the one spoken about. You say, huwa yaf'al. He does. Huma yaf'alan. Those two do. Hum yaf'alun. Those three or more masculine do. Hiya taf'al. She does. Hunna yaf'alna. They, those three or more females, do. So let's look. Yaf'alu, huwa yaf'alu. Sign of Rafa is a Dammah because there's no suffix. Hiya taf'alu. Again, sign of Rafa is a Dammah because there's no suffix. The rest have suffix. Okay. So what did we say up above? We said if that suffix is the ya or the alif or the waw, then the sign of Rafa is going to be a noon. So let's see. Here's the alif right here. And here's waw right here. So then the sign of Rafa is going to be a noon. What's that alif? That's a pronoun, means those two. And waw is pronoun, means those three or more. And what's this noon right here? That's the same one that I wanted to come back to for you. Yani. So this one and this one here. So what's going on here? Now let me single those out for you. We said here taf'alna and yaf'alna. So now I already told you this noon is a pronoun, and the name of this pronoun is nunun niswa. Nunun niswa. The women's noon, or the noon of the women. Niswa is plural. It's like nisa. Niswa is like nisa, women. Nunun nisa. So this noon is for three or more females. And then there's a question. But are you talking to them or are you talking about them? Three or more females, you talking to them or are you talking about them? So if you're talking to them, then the ta is going to be the sign that you're talking to those three or more females. If you're talking about them, then the ya is going to be the sign you're talking about those three or more females. And now, what about the ending of the verb? Because this is nahu. We know now that the end of the word is here, the lamb. So we want to talk about the signs of Rafa. The author said there's 4 signs of Rafa. Dammah and waw and alif and noon. And not sukoon. There's sukoon on that lamb there at the end of the verb. The noon is not the end of the verb. That's very important for you to understand. And also up here, all these ones here, these have suffixes. The noon is not the end of the verb. The lamb is the end of the verb. The suffix is its own word. Just in Arabic, you're writing 2 words together. You're literally writing them connected. Just like L, for example. Don't you write L in Arabic connected to the word? In English, you write the, its own word, and then you separate, and then you put whatever. Those are 2 different words right there. So the end of this verb is the lamb. Why there's sukoon there? What is that sukoon? That's not one of the signs of Dammah that the scholars talked about. So the answer is, it's not one of the signs of Rafa that the scholars talked about. That's not one of the signs of Rafa that the scholars talked about. So the answer is, now when this pronoun attaches to the verb, this verb becomes basically cemented with a Dammah. It's like to say became frozen. It's stuck like that now. Now doesn't matter what comes in front of it. That lamb, as long as that noon is there, that lamb is not going to change. Whether something that has the powers of nasab influences this verb now. Or something has the powers of jazm comes to influence this verb. Yes. Now, whether something that has the powers of nasb come, a nasib. Nasib comes with his powers of nasb. Or a jazm comes with his powers of jazm. Nasib like n. Or jazm like lam. Because you know different words in Arabic have different powers. So some nasib comes to influence this verb. Or a jazm. His powers will have no effect on the ending of that verb. As long as that noon of the women is attached to the back of that verb, it's going to be stuck with a sukoon there. That's called mabni. Mabni, yani, or let me say it this way, just for simplicity for now. That's called Bina. Bina. If you want, keep that word mabni on deck. We'll come back to it. Let's use the word bina for now. Bina. Bina means building or structured. So bina is the opposite of i'rab. I'rab is how the words change because something's influencing it. Bina is how the word stays the same despite that something is influencing it. So when a word in Arabic is mabni, when a word in Arabic has bina, then its ending is not going to change, no matter what influences it. So the summary of all of that is to say, when the noon of the women attaches to the back of the fi'l mudari', it's going to become in a state of bina. It's going to get stuck with a sukoon. So the rule is still true. Dammah is a sign of Rafa for the fi'l mudari' as long as it doesn't have a suffix. So they said it in a broad way like that to include different scenarios. One scenario is the suffix is a pronoun that makes a noon come. Another scenario is that the suffix is actually a noon, which is the pronoun. Subhanallah. And there's still one more thing. Yani, there's one more thing that's suffixed to the back of the fi'l mudari'. But first, before I tell you that, do you have any question for me? Feel free, please. Ask me now anything you want to.
Sheikh Ra'id,
Yes.
if it was huma and more than one woman, so it would be huma taf'alani,
Uh, if it's, when you say more than one woman, you mean
three
just
or
two?
more.
Okay, so if
Yes.
it's three or more, then it's hunna,
Hunna yaf'alna.
yaf'alna. Yes.
Okay, huma is for two.
Yes.
So huma would be huma yaf'alani,
Yes.
and the noon would be noon and niswa at the end.
No. The noon's going to be a sign of rafa at the end.
Yaf'alani, it's maksura.
Yes. It is maksura for a reason.
Jar, it's jar.
No, it's not majrur. It's just that noon happens to have a kasra. It's a noon with a kasra for um for a reason in Arabic language. Siani is something that keeps the sounds of words compatible in Arabic.
Okay.
For that kasra right there in this case. So
Barakallahu feek.
I mean wafikum. So uh yeah. You would say in Arabic rajulani. Right? Rajulani. two men,
Mm-hmm.
and you say yaf'alani, they do. Those two men do. Rajulani yaf'alani. But that looks the same. The ending looks the same, and it sounds the same, but doesn't mean the same. Because when you say rajulani here, this alif right here, that's a sign of Rafa. And when you say yaf'alani, this alif here, that's a pronoun. It's not the same alif.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say this noon here, rajulani, this noon right here, this is a replacement for the tanween that would exist in the singular form. This noon replaces the tanween that would exist in a singular form. In singular form, you say rajulun, that noon sound. When you make it dual, you say rajulan. You keep a noon sound, and actually, you're actually going to write the noon. This noon here is replacing the tanween in the singular form. It's not a sign of rafa. The alif is a sign of rafa. But when you say yaf'alani, this noon here is a sign of rafa. It's not a replacement for a tanween because tanweens don't exist in verbs anyway.
Yes. تنوين بالاسم, right?
Yes. So what happened here? When we've just now seen this alif, when you say rajulani, the alif in rajulani is something, and the noon in rajulani is something. And when you said yaf'alani, the alif was something else, and the noon was something else. But both of them are for two.
Okay.
So what happened there? Arabic language made the sound stay consistent.
Yes, I understand. Barakallahu feek.
I mean, wafikum.
Sheikh, right, very quickly.
Yeah.
For yaf'alani, won't the ya be a sign of the pronoun?
Yes. It's a sign of the pronoun. That's true.
Also, the alif is a sign of the pronoun as well.
No, the alif is the pronoun. The pronoun here is two. Two, not in the number two. Two, what though? That's why you need a sign. Two that you're speaking to, or two that you're speaking about.
Barakallahu feekum, that makes sense.
I mean, wafikum. That's why I told you these three in the beginning. You have three gears here. First gear, second gear, third gear. First gear is speaker, I or we. Second gear is spoken to, you. Third gear is spoken about, he, she, them. Or they, not them. They. Them is true, but okay. Do you have any other question, inshallah? Um, uh, yeah. So let me show you one more thing here before we stop. Something else attaches to the back of the fi'l mudari', but it's not a pronoun. It's a noon, but it's not a pronoun. It's called noon tawkid. Noon tawkid, which means the noon of emphasis or noon of intensification. Tawkid is reaffirming. That's the meaning of tawkid. Reaffirmation. So it means intensification, emphasis, or hyperbole. Hyperbole. Okay. So, for example, you say, Wallahi, la af'alanna kada. So, Wallahi, la af'alanna kada. You know, Wallahi, I swear to God. You have Kesra there, so you're going to ask yourself, why there's Kesra there at the end of the word? The name of Allah is Majroor here in the state of Jar, because I know Kesra is the sign of Jar. I got it. Understand now. Why is in a state of Jar here? Because this wow is really a prepositional particle. The swearing particles are prepositional particles. Wallahi, I swear to God. La af'alanna katha. I will indeed do such and such. So, what's going on here? La af'alanna. This lamb here, this is a lamb that falls in response to a swear. A lamb that falls in response to a swear. Like you would swear, you'd say, Wallahi. That's the swear right there. So what are you swearing about? Something. So that's your next sentence. Wallahi, I will never talk to him again. Because that's what you're swearing about. So in Arabic, you can put a lamb right there when you're talking about, mentioning what you're swearing about. It's like saying, I swear to God, I will never talk to him again. So you heard that little lamb there? I swear to God, I will never talk to him again. Wallahi la af'alanna katha. So that lamb falls in response to a swear. So here's your verb. Af'al, I do. I do. So then what's this noon here? Because the end of the verb is the lamb. This noon here is noonu tawkid. It's the noon of emphasis. When this noon attaches to the back of the verb will also become built, structured, will basically become stuck, cemented with a fatha though, in this case. So you can tell the difference. So you can tell the difference between the noon of the women and the noon of emphasis. The verb with the noon of the women is built with a sukoon, with the noon of emphasis is built with a fatah. So then goes back to the rule, which is what the author stated here. والفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. The Dammah is a sign of Rafa for the fi'l mudari' without a suffix. So now you got the whole thing. Fi'l mudari' without a suffix. So what would be a suffix? Either a pronoun or a noon. Yani, I'll write it all out for you right now. What's going to be a suffix for the fi'l mudari'? A damir, a pronoun, or noon tawkid, or noon of emphasis, which is a harf. Noon of emphasis is a harf. Harf ma'na, a particle. So, noon of tawkid, or damir. The damir is going to be what? The damir pronoun is going to be, damir pronoun, is going to be an alif, or a wow, or a ya, or a noon. Those are the pronouns that would suffix to the back of the fi'l mudari'. So if it's an alif, you'd say yaf'alan, taf'alan, or yaf'alan. Yaf'alan or taf'alan. If it's a wow, you'd say taf'alun or yaf'alun. If it was a ya, you'd say taf'alin. And if it's a noon, you'd say taf'alna or yaf'alna. In all these cases, Dammah is not a sign of Rafa. In the case when the suffix is a alif, the noon was a sign of Rafa instead of a Dammah. The alif is the damir pronoun. Also, when the wow was the suffix, when the damir was a wow, then the noon was a sign of rafa. And if it were a ya, then the noon is a sign of rafa instead of a dammah. And if it were a noon, then that's the noon of the women. And now this verb has gone into a new realm, actually. He went into a whole nother gear, a verbal gear. Let me not say gear here. He's in a new realm here. Because now he's in the land of Bina. You have what you call, in Arabic world, you have two lands. You have the land of I'rab and the land of Bina. I'rab is when the words endings change because of what influences them. And Bina is when the words endings stay the same regardless if something is influencing them. Simple, easy one for you. Like the pronoun huwa, he. So that fatha is never going to go anywhere. Stays just right there. So a word like that is called mabni, built. The ending does not fluctuate. So when this noon attaches to the verb, it's not going to even be mu'rab anymore. It's not going to be susceptible to alternating endings anymore. As long as that noon is attached, it won't be susceptible to alternating endings anymore. It's going to be cemented. That sukoon cemented there, regardless of anything that would come and influence it. Had that noon detached, then its ending could start varying again, if there wasn't any other suffix there. Wallahu a'lam. So we didn't get to the next part of the Metan. We'll stop there. Inshallah, we'll start the next part of the Metan. He's going to talk about the wow now. When will wow be a sign of Rafa instead of a Dammah? And what that means is, what kind of word structures are there? What new forms of Arabic words shall we learn next week? Those that their form is such that the Dammah is no longer compatible for them to be a sign of Rafa. They have a whole different form. And so it needs a different sign. And now we're going to learn all about something new, inshallah. What does the metan mean of the upcoming paragraph, you mean? For the wow? Metan means text. Metan means text. Not summary, but text. You're welcome. According to that, the Quran could be a metan. Quran could be a metan. And then the tafsir is the sharh, is the explanation for the metan, the text. Metan is the text. Usually when they say metan, though, they mean like the fundamental text that's being explained. The metan being the fundamental text that's being explained. That means not the explanatory book, like when we went over the explanation of Qatrun Nada. The explanation is not the metan. The metan is Qatrun Nada, and the explanation explains this metan. The metan usually is just like the first level of some series of books, whether it be explanatory books or commentary books. Commentary means like in footnotes. Toyib, you said, would you consider teaching a class in ilm al-sarf? Yes, I would. I think it will help people in their understanding word formation and developing vocabulary. And I think knowing sarf provides the groundwork for recognizing the types of words and their potential roles in sentences. Yes, I agree with you. So, let me see something. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Maybe we'll do something, maybe next week, just for benefit. That means we would go away from the paragraph here, go away from the text here. And I'll introduce you to something perhaps next week, and we'll benefit there. And then perhaps we'll come back here. Or, if you think we should stay there, maybe we'll stay there. Ameen wa bikum. We'll do that actually. Although I feel like I'm in a roll here. I'm just getting warmed up with this Al-Aajurroomiyyah, but yeah, I think you might actually have something there. Let's try something next week, inshallah. Ameen wa bikum. Any question?
Sheikh Raid, the last
Yes.
one, the last example where تفعلنا or
Mhm.
يفعلنا, that's نون التوكيد.
No, that's nunun niswa.
That's نون النسوة. And it's مبني.
Yes, the verb is mabni.
Okay.
مبني على السكون. So you say فعل مضارع مبني على السكون لاتصاله بنون النسوة.
And uh, uh, مبني على السكون, meaning the last letter in the فعل has a سكون.
Yes.
Okay. جزاك الله خيرا.
آمين وإياكم.
I'm so sorry. Could you please explain what mabni is again, please?
Yes, no problem. Mabni means that the word is البناء لزوم الكلمة حالة واحدة. That's بناء. البناء is
A word doesn't change.
yeah لزوم
Yeah.
الكلمة حالة واحدة. It's for a word to stay adhering, meaning the ending of the word, because we're talking about nahu. It's for the word ending to just stay one way, regardless of any influencing words.
Right. Thank you. Barakallahu fikum.
Amin wa fikum. So, for example, the past tense verb in Arabic, daraba, that fatha will never change for some reason. Or the pronoun huwa or hiya, he or she, that fatha will not change for some reason. Or the word aina, where that fatha, you don't say ainu or aini, even if you have the word min there. Min, from, min, you don't say min aini, it doesn't change. Say min aina, from where, so it's built like that. Mebni. What does change though, so you know, I wasn't saying because I didn't want to say too much stuff at one time. What does change though is the slot, the word slot. Yani it's in the slot of jar. This word doesn't have the ability, this min, it can't change the fatha on aina because aina is built this way. But it can affect the slot of the word. And that basically means in your mind, in your heart, you're registering that the word is in the place of jar. But you're not going to change the haraka at the end because the word is built like that. So most of the Arabic nouns are mu'rab. That means their endings vary. The vast majority of Arabic nouns, their endings vary by being influenced. And some of them are built in such a way that their endings don't vary. And to the contrary, most of the Arabic verbs are built in such a way that their endings don't vary. And some of the Arabic verbs are mu'rab, their endings vary because they can play different roles in a sentence, so that they need this distinguishing. And all of the Arabic particles are built. None of them vary in ending. Is that clear for you?
Yeah. Barakallahu fikum. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Ameen wa fikum. You're welcome. So if there's no other question, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. I have a feeling if we do what we do next week, you're going to all tell me, let's stay here. We'll see though.
I have a feeling too. So thank you. Barakallahu fikum. So the brother actually recommended that. MashaAllah. Barakallahu fikum.